5:29.
Okay.
All right, it's 5:30. I'd like to call to order the Albany Selectmen's meeting on June 14th, 2023. Please join me in the pledge. Sorry about that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Little marble mouth. The start.
Yeah, marble.
All right.
One a little.
New business, approval of May 31st, 2023 selectmen meeting minutes, including 2 sets of sealed non-public minutes. Any discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the May 31st selectmen meeting minutes to include 2 sets of sealed non-public
Nice.
minutes.
Vote.
You? I gotta do something here.
I second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I thought he seconded.
Well, we went to the race. She had marbles in her mouth.
Approval of June 14th, 2023 consent file, review and sign manifest in the amount of $12,949.58 and $4,747.46. This includes accounts payable and payroll manifest for 6/7 and 6/14/2023. Review and discuss and approve deny revised residential building permit for repairs to 10 Red Path Road, map 1 L2. Review and discuss and approve sign 2023 MS 535. Any discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent file as presented.
We forgot the building permit for 28 Abenaki Way. That got
Oh, that
added
was
on
the
the
addition.
revised.
Oh, sorry. I did not see that.
That's okay. It was in yellow highlighted on the
Ah.
revised.
Okay.
So there was also in the consent file, review, discuss, and approve or deny residential building permit for a garage at 28 Abenaki
Okay.
Way.
Okay.
I will make a motion to approve the consent file to include the building permit for Abenaki Way.
Okay, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright. So did that, and that was, okay, so we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. So review, discuss, approve, and sign municipal facility use application for August 11th, 12th, and 13th of 2023 for a rehearsal and wedding.
I'll make a motion to approve the municipal facility use application.
I second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Review and discuss, approve, deny request for charitable exemption for MWB Habitat for Humanity, map 3, lot 37. Any discussion?
So I included the email from the town licensed assessor, and basically the statute on charitable exemptions has very specific language about owning, operating, and using. And so for their mission, so obviously they own it, but they aren't really using or operating for that mission just yet. So his recommendation was to deny the charitable exemption. The bulk of the property is in current use, so it's not big taxes anyway, but that's the letter I prepped for you because generally you agree with him. But that's what his recommendation is to deny it for this year and see where they are next year. And
Okay.
also include in that letter like some more, if they do start to use and operate it next year, like take some out of current use and do some things, then they need to tell us what part they're using for their mission and what, like we're gonna have to stay in touch with them and
Yeah. Okay.
to be able to figure that out from year to year,
Because
because it may
assessor's
not
gonna have to remove that from current use.
exactly as it gets used. But like right now, they haven't even been to the planning board yet, so we're not really sure what I think they're working with, the last I talked to them verbally, they said that they were working with HEB to come up with a cluster development, so.
Okay. So I make a motion to deny the request for charitable exception for MWB Habitat for Humanity on map 3, lot 37. All those in favor?
Oh, I'll second that.
Second, sorry. All those in favor? Aye. Review, discuss, deny request for charitable exemption for Tin Mountain.
So this one is a little bit more problematic because we have a verbal, I've never seen a written, but we have a verbal pilot agreement with them, which is a payment in lieu of taxes. So basically, if you could deny their charitable exemption, but if you do that because of timeliness, because they did not file it on time, and then when we wrote to them and asked them if there was an accident, misfortune, there's some very specific language in the RSA as well about missing the filing date. They did not ever answer us why they didn't file it. They just filed it late. So you could deny them the charitable exemption. We've already billed the first issue bill, so everything would go to the second issue bill, which is fine because half of last year's actual they didn't get billed last year because they were exempt. So it's up to you guys. We build the pilot program the following spring after the tax rate gets set. So we've already billed them for 2022 and they've paid. So
We'll
it's
just
really
go to the next.
it's really up to you. What if you vote to deny them a charitable exemption for this year because of timely filing or whatever, then I would just write them a letter and say you won't get a pilot in the spring. You're going to get a tax bill in the fall. Again, I think they have 4 or 5 parcels. The bulk of them are in current use except for the stuff that's built on. So they would get a tax bill in the fall. But they could also appeal to BTLA. And my experience with these, when they appeal, they usually win because they have some reason they didn't file. You're not supposed to just say you forgot. There's supposed to be accident, misfortune, and something else. I can't remember.
So we can approve it and it wouldn't be.
It's up to you guys. I think that approving it is a little problematic because you don't want everybody that gets a charitable exemption, or like Waldorf used to have an educational exemption. You don't want everybody to start filing late because it's not our responsibility to remind them. We did that, but that's not our responsibility. You're supposed to, if you want to be exempt, you should file.
Okay.
And somebody in your organization should take responsibility for that. So I just worry that, you kind of want to treat everybody the same. So I'm not really sure. I don't have a strong feeling about this either way.
Yeah.
Jason kind of recommends, that's why I didn't prep a letter for you. Because usually what I do if I don't know, then I just write the letter and say the selectmen voted unanimously to do this, which is still the letter I can send. I don't have a strong opinion about this. I mean, you've got a licensed assessor, he makes a recommendation.
My only other comment, but setting precedents is huge. We'll probably get more money out of them from having a pilot agreement than having them exempt, but I do think it's very important that they must file on time, and they did not. So with that, I will make a motion to deny their charitable exemption for Tin Mountain.
Okay, second.
No, I'm trying to wrap my head around.
Sorry,
Well,
discussion.
for discussion, right? Second one.
Yeah.
You say they'll get billed, but then when they file, they won't get billed in the spring?
No, they're getting billed in
They're
the
getting
fall.
billed in the fall.
So what usually,
The pilot agreement.
what usually happens is that they pay the town and the county portion, not the school taxes, because they don't put any kids in. Now, that's the payment in lieu of taxes agreement we have with them.
Okay.
So, but I don't know what the tax rate is going to be until October. So in 2022, they don't get a tax bill until the spring of 2023, when I know what that rate is.
Right.
Then I go through all their properties, take all the assessed values, and do it by the tax rate less the 2 school portions,
Okay.
and send them a bill. And they've already paid, I sent it to them, I think, in March or
Yeah.
April, so Tin Mountain's already paid for 2022. So what would happen this year if you deny the charitable exemption is I will write to them and tell them they've been denied, and that there will be a tax bill coming in the fall, which will be the full tax bill, because our first issue already went out. And even if it hadn't, half of last year's actual, they didn't pay taxes last year because they were in a pilot, so it wouldn't have issued a tax bill anyway.
Okay. Well, this
So
would be a first
in the
time.
fall, they're going to get whatever the rate is in the fall, let's say it's the same as it is today, at $10.90 on whatever they have
Mhm.
in the fall. And then next spring, I won't send them a letter for a pilot program because they don't qualify for 2023. And then if they file on time in 2023, their A9 or their BTLA 9 form by April,
Mhm.
then we'll go back to the pilot program.
Okay. I get it. It's really the first time that they've gone through this.
Yeah, since I've been here, I don't know, Kathy
Yeah.
would have more experience than I do. I've never seen them not file, they've always filed in the
As far as I
3 years I've been here until this
So
year.
they just didn't file. And, okay. All right, I'm ready.
Is it for all the properties?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So,
I made a motion.
A motion,
you
so all
second,
those in-
discussion.
discussion, all those in favor of denying the charitable exemption for Tin Mountain?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
reluctantly. Okay. Town administrators report.
So I need Monday off.
Yes. Good, take it.
Not for Juneteenth. Taking my husband to the doctor in Boston. It's not a June, it's a medical thing, not a Juneteenth thing.
Make a motion to approve the time off request from the town administrator.
My second. Any discussion, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we got a letter from Mitchell Municipal Group. They only keep legal files on file for 7 years. So I just wanted to know, I think they represented us in like a class action with Eversource Appeals or something. Is that something you want me to get the file for? Okay. I didn't know if you wanted me to store it instead of them storing it. And then I did just want to add one thing to the agenda. So late this afternoon, I got a local approval for construction of an individual sewage disposal system for Sharon Croto's property on Drake Hill Road. You may remember this, they filed a driveway permit and we kind of did not address that. She just sent a building permit, which I've sent to the building permit administrator, but this is a local approval, so if you guys just want to make a motion to approve
Make a
that.
motion to approve the sewage.
Alright, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Alright, appointments, public hearing. Hey Kurt.
Right.
So we're gonna discuss the next steps regarding the US DOT flap grant and repairs to Passaconaway Road. What are you thinking?
What have you done so far?
Well, we haven't really done anything because they gave us the 3 options and we can't do any of the 3 options. So I guess right now we need to decide what we want to do going forward. Because their whole thing is that they want to shut the whole road down to be able to do the construction. Obviously, we can't do that. So I guess, we've appropriated, or we have some money for the matching part of this, or whatever, our percentage part, not matching, but. So I guess it's just what we all, or you all, always want to do going forward with this process. I mean, if they're stuck on us closing the road, I mean, I had a brief conversation with the fire chief, and I mean, he can't do that, and he doesn't have the resources to just leave a fire engine up there. So I don't know really what we want to do. I mean, I was part of the early on discussion with Chairman Rick Highland when he was involved in this, and he told them specifically that we couldn't close the road down, and they have it in their minds that they have to, and so
It sounds like if we wanted to go with not closing down the roads, they're gonna have to start all over again with new borings.
yeah,
And I'm not sure how much time we have left
yeah.
to spend this money.
So I don't know. So my thought is then we can fix it and we can work on it ourselves. And I have some thoughts that we could,
Didn't we appropriate some money towards?
I think there's a couple $100,000 there, isn't there?
In 2020, you appropriated, I believe it was
No,
2020.
this year. In March, didn't we appropriate money? You said you had to put like 150,000.
Oh, for some paving.
Paving, oh, okay.
Yeah, some paving
Okay.
projects, but that wasn't specifically
It wasn't
for
for
this.
past Conway.
Well, yeah, it was, but I mean, Pascone's a 3+ mile road, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of things to do in Pascone, except for this part of the narrow section. So
My thought was always to put it into the capital reserve, save, and then do it. At this point, you know, if we were putting into it. If you recall, their estimate was double or more
yeah,
than what ours was from HEB.
yeah. I mean, I have some
And years
ideas that
have
we
gone by.
could bench it and widen the road, set it over a couple feet, put some geogrid fabric in, and put some new drainage in, and I think we'd do really well. So, I mean, the road's not falling into the river. If you're new to town and you drive through there and you're from the south, you're gonna think that road's a little scarier than it should be. But I think, you know, it just needs some work.
Tell them to drive up Mount Washington.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just something that this board and future boards should have on their minds, so that, because I hear there's another cut coming out there down the road, that we have to really dig in and hold our ground on the Forest Service trucking out that road.
Yeah.
So, and they have another option, and they're not gonna like it, but they could truck out High Street, which is mostly dirt. There's a little section that's paved, but they could truck out that gate of High Street. It means they have to build a road on their land
That's
and
right.
pull the wood uphill, but they're not gonna like that. But
No.
if they know that going into it, it will alleviate. I'd rather worry about 800 feet of liquid penetrated pavement on High Street than 3.5 miles of road, which is millions of dollars to fix, as we know. So it's just something that we have to think about, and this board just has to pull all the punches when the Forest Service wants to, because no matter what they say, no matter what, we are still gonna get stuck with the damage of the road.
Yes,
What?
period.
That was a long time ago. Didn't we get a bond?
$70,000.
It's just, it's
It's just that we didn't
impossible.
get it.
And you can't prove that they were
Can't
the
prove it.
actual
You can't
people
prove
who
it.
As we
damaged
were
the
doing
road. That was the
bond,
problem.
we knew
You
we
got,
couldn't.
you got oil companies going
Yeah.
over, you got all these heavy trucks. You can't prove that that company was the actual
It
cause.
stunk at that time.
That was the problem.
You're right, we can't.
I don't think we can, I think we can ask for a bond from the federal government, but it's not like a regular logger on private land on town roads. We can't
What
demand
we
it.
were told before was that they should have included it in their package, their bid package. If we wanted a road bond, and again, if we can't collect on it,
It doesn't.
well, what's the sense?
Well,
You know,
and
we
it's,
can't stop
and it's
oil
long
trucks.
lasting, right? So you're
Yes,
seeing
years.
damage years down the road. So I think that the town should take the position of your access point for any future cuts on this section of property is through the High Street outlet that they have. If they don't like it, they have a temporary bridge, they can bridge the Swift.
Yep.
They used to do it in the old days, and they could do it again,
Yeah, they can.
you know?
What's the road, what's the weight on that road? Do we have a restriction on it?
Well, there's, on that pass, I mean, you can haul 102,000 pounds on any road
Can
in
we-
the state unless there's bridges, but there's a bridge out there that is a granite box culvert bridge,
Mhm.
and I think it's a historical bridge, so I think we have a little bit of
I'm
discussion.
just
we can have.
thinking, I thought we had the right to post roads.
Only for weather. We can't
What
lower,
about condition though? Like Curtis is saying, if there's something on there that we need to protect,
No.
we can't. I think we went through that, that's why our hands were tied,
that's a
And
DOT,
it
that's
was
a New
almost
Hampshire
like they
DOT
had
thing.
every right to do
It's
it.
not a state road.
It doesn't matter, even a class 5 or class 6 in town, there's only certain things you can do to them
But we
or
have,
require on
I
them.
mean, we'll have to check with the right people, but I mean, I would think you could tell them where they could go in.
I think we need to tell them now.
I think we did that
There's
before
another cut
with the
coming.
over
Yeah.
here.
That's what he said.
You know, when they wanted to come out Birch Hill and we said, nope, You have a road
Have you ever
right there.
reached out to
You have
them
build
before
something
about
to 16.
alternative routes and?
No.
No.
Because I
They would
wasn't
tell them-
here. with
Oh, okay.
all
Yeah,
that.
Yes.
that was wild.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so we did do that.
Oh.
We did what you're right, we
You wanted to
did.
come out on town hall
They
and we
wanted to
said,
come on town hall, but that wasn't the Forest Service.
No, I
That was
know.
a private, but
still,
we
what's
made
the
them come
difference?
out on Route 16, and their
Protecting our
response
roads.
was, well, it's gonna cost us $50,000 to build a road on site. And I said, well, to rebuild Town Hall Road, it's gonna cost you $100,000, so go out on that, and so they did. They weren't very happy about it, but it didn't hurt the town road. So, it's just something to think about it, you know, I know boards change, but if we're all here, and I think it's something that they should know. Cause when they bid, because I did get a little inside scoop that is coming, another big cut.
So we should talk to them sooner rather than later, or
Oh.
send a letter and.
When's the last time we had Jim Ennis in anyways?
He called the end of last year, and I think we had a lot of budget stuff going on, and he said, cause isn't he cutting down in the Ferncroft, Tamworth neighborhood somewhere? That got put off during COVID,
I'm not sure, actually.
and I said, oh boy, you know, yeah, we need to be in the loop on any of your cuts because of
And he
that.
knows that because of the prior.
He does, so maybe I should reach out to him and just see where they are on that other one and then what is going on with this one, cause right now we could write a very general letter of, hey, before you do any bid packages for cuts that use Albany town roads, we would like some more information and to get with you to pick potential routes.
So in that term, going back to, so the money we set aside for that $5,000 we probably won't get, I mean, give it some thought, but it might be something that we do some work, extra work on the narrow section. But if you wanna put it in the general,
That warrant article was
That article was
25.
2019, and the money is preserved until December 31st, 2025, so it doesn't drop into fund balance until then. I think you could have a warrant article in 2024 that rescinds this warrant article, and that will drop it into, you know, you could set up a capital reserve fund for Pescataway Road, or you can set it up, just put it in the highway.
But could we rescind the vote and then the next warrant article, say if that warrant article passes, this article will raise and appropriate and be offset by the unreserved fund balance?
Sure. Yeah, as long as we just have to get this one rescinded first to get it to drop into fund balance, and then you can,
So if we did that with 225 and then
200.
Add some to it.
raise and
Yeah.
appropriate like our normal,
Yeah,
Yeah, we could do something, I mean, I'm pretty sure that, a couple of meetings with HEB and a site visit, we can come up with a plan that's way better than what the federal government had for us, and much cheaper. And, you know, and it would be great, I think the thing would be fine.
I think we've
completely
wasted enough
agree.
time on this and
Yeah.
let's
yeah,
move
we
forward
can
with
stop
that.
talking about it.
I don't
Should
know how
we-
you feel.
Do you want me to write to USDOT to Jacinda and pull the
No,
flag?
they made us wait so we can make them wait.
Yeah, it sounds like this has been, you know,
Been a long time.
ongoing, it's been happening
4 years.
right, and so
Been a
it's
while.
probably
5
time
years?
to, move on. Certainly we should get a
Yeah.
hold of the forest.
5 years, because in 2019, we did the warrant article, so this
Yeah.
was,
So we should get a hold of the forest guy, what's his name?
Forest Service,
Jimenez.
Jim Ennis.
And just maybe talk to him about alternative routes and then start
Yeah, and
planning
he's due
for,
for a trip in
Yeah.
anyways, I don't remember last time he was here, so.
and then start
we
planning
can
for,
kinda touch base on that, put that in his brain
okay. And then start planning for another warrant article for
for next year, for
allocating funds for that. Okay.
maybe rescinding the other one, that's,
I'll try to DRA too and just make sure that
Yeah.
this is doable, because it says that this was supposed to be withdrawn from the unreserved fund balance, so I don't know how.
225?
The 200, it was not
Oh,
225, it's
sorry.
good till December 31st of 25.
So when we used it, it was to be withdrawn?
That's a good question,
So
because
it's
I have to
actually
see,
not going to drop back in?
I have to see how the auditors are treating it, they might have pulled it out of unreserved fund balance and made it committed.
Okay.
I'll have to look on the, but it says to see
That
if
would
the
make
town will vote
sense.
to raise and appropriate, so they raised and appropriated the sum of $200,000 for the purpose of funding the Passaconaway Road project while awaiting reimbursement from New Hampshire DOT. The town is required to pay all invoices before being reimbursed 80% of the cost by New Hampshire DOT. Said funds to be withdrawn from the unreserved fund balance. The funds will be replaced once reimbursement is received. The special warrant article will be a non-lapsing until December 31st, 2025, or when the project is done, whichever is sooner.
Could be committed.
No money used under
No.
this appropriation will come from property taxes. So we need to rescind that anyway, because if he needed 50,000 more that we wanted to raise in 2024, we have to fix how we're gonna do this. So I'll talk to DRA and just make sure that this is
And if we
doable.
can, let's talk about making that a wash, that $200,000, and then we reappropriate or whatever we need to do in order to use it. And then we have our normal warrant article.
The way I read this warrant article, what should have happened in 2019 is $200,000 should have come out of unreserved fund balance and been either restricted or committed. I can't remember which fund but it would be under the restricted or the committed.
Yeah.
So, but I honestly don't remember in the financial statements if that has happened, so I'll have to look.
That sounds like a plan though, get something done.
Yeah, start
Yeah,
moving forward.
yeah, and we could maybe, yes, so.
All right.
I got a few other things if you have some time.
I have one other thing for you too.
That's your paperwork I owed you. The
Okay.
rates, the first one's the rates, and then the second one's the town rates, and then there's permit rates, the
Okay.
paving invoice, which is a little more, cause I didn't realize they hadn't billed it all.
Is there one coming from rental too?
She's out sick, so,
Okay.
so. It's kinda, I'll have that clarified tomorrow.
I need your help,
Okay?
and I'm sandbagging you terribly.
Yes,
So
that's
sorry
okay.
for this, let me
That's all right.
apologize right up front, but I need all four of you to look me in the eye and tell me what to do about this. The thing with that mobile home on Octa Lane, I called Rickers, twice. They said they'd have, the girl in the office was very kind. She said she'd have somebody call me back. Nobody called me, so I don't know if that means she forgot to tell them or they're not interested. I can call again. Curtis called Sean Sylvester a couple of times, asked him to call me. He hasn't done that. Can we throw ourselves on the mercy of Coleman and see if they can? You've got all this,
I
all
will-
these equipment and guys and people and they know what they're doing.
So, we have an old structure that needs to get out of it, that's right? Yep.
It's a mobile home. I believe it's a single wide mobile home and the whole back wall is collapsed. It's like open to the
It
public.
can't be rolled out of there, it's gotta
So
be,
it
No,
has to be
it's-
on a trailer.
or
or
a
a-
dumpster.
Take it
Metal
apart.
dumpster.
What actually needs is a dumpster and something to crush it, throw it in the dumpster, and let it get hauled out.
Okay, I'll work on that,
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. So it just we need to put a roll-off out there and
Yeah.
have it scrunched.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a mobile home, so it's a fairly decent size.
Yeah,
It's
so they're gonna ask
probably
like
20
insulation.
20 by
and-
40 are they usually, or 12 by 40?
I mean, it could probably.
Yeah, it wasn't a long
It's a single one.
one, it was single wide, but
Where
it wasn't
is
long
it?
either.
11 Octa Lane.
That's,
I'll email you the property
Hold on.
card and I'll email you the building permanent administrator and the fire chief went out there to look at it and they took some photos
On your
of
way up the hill, it's,
So the best way to do this is to put a 40-yard roll-off dumpster.
Mm-hmm.
Have us come in there with an excavator.
yeah,
Because no one, if you can't tow it, no one's gonna want to drag it down. No one's gonna put it on it. Like so, we'll do it like
I
that.
mean, you could tow the frame out once you tore the tops off.
Yeah,
Fold it, put that on a trailer or
or a metal
separate than the
dumpster.
dumpster. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's steel, we were trying to get Rick to take it for the steel, but by the time you get to steel, you got all that debris.
Well, they don't want to do all the insulation
Right.
because you can't put a bunch of that. So it's
Yeah,
So
we
what-
kind of need the whole, like if
And
there's
if it has
concrete
stuff in
stair,
is there
just,
stuff in it.
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
know.
The
No
pictures
mattresses.
didn't
it's
show
been
any.
gone for
You can't.
years.
No one wants mattresses.
Nobody puts nothing in that building.
Yeah. 'cause
if there's anything in it, like just
Oh,
Yeah.
and it's been looted out.
bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Any copper, I'm sure there's no copper in it.
No. Alright, I won't leave you
sorry.
hanging there, Kelly. So we have a couple different kind of issues that, so the first one is on Bald Hill Road. And I got a call that I'm sure Kelly sent my way, and I appreciate that, from Carrie Thompson. She lives at 1337 Bald Hill Road. She's in, it's one of the, it's kind of a big modular unit right across from the Levitt trailers, Arthur Levitt's trailers. She has water bubbling out of her driveway, okay? The water is coming from the Levitt property, their wells, and I'm just guessing, but I'm assuming that when Arthur did this subdivision, he has those two trailers, and then he had the lot across there, he put a water line in there and capped it. So what's happening is the well is pumping to those trailers, and it's pumping at least to the one right across from them. And I have pictures of it. It's 1336, right across the road, and the water's coming out of the ground in her driveway, and it's underneath the road. This is happening. She's tried to talk. This Carrie Thompson has tried to talk to the Arthur's son. I don't know his name. That didn't, the only discussion they had was, can you shut off your pump to see if this water is coming from you? When he shut off his pump at the panel, the water stopped. So it's obviously coming from them. So why is this a town issue? At first I'm like, this isn't a town, this is a civil issue, right? The only risk that we have, if there's water bubbling from underneath the road and coming out in her driveway, it potentially can cause a road problem, because the water's it's gonna be a problem someday for the town, because the road's gonna start heaving in because the water. So maybe some push along from you guys to the Levitts to say you need to fix.
He's at 1336. The owner of 1336 is
1336, I believe.
That's across
it's
from
map
13.
7, lot 90. Here it is. This is all of it. So I can show you. The pictures. It's pretty. It's bubbling out of her driveway. So that's like a stream that runs all the time.
So the problem with this is what we just ran into with 56 Ridgeview. According to NHMA's legal inquiry line, we can go after them to repair it and for the cost of repairing the road after it damages the road. But we don't really have any power to make them fix it before it damages our road, or to make them fix it for somebody else.
Right.
So I think we write a letter similar to the one we wrote to 56 Ridgeview and say, we're putting you on notice that although it is not currently damaged, the town road, if and when it does, we will be coming to you for the repair. So please get with our road agent and figure out how to fix that.
Yeah, all they need to do is, I would assume, go into the well
They gotta
and
find
shut
a
that
leak.
line off. But they just need to hire a plumber.
Yeah.
And I'll give the credit. Carrie, she's tried, but there's just nothing happening. So, and I know the Levitts, I don't know if they're, they're elderly people, and so, I don't know what capacity or ability, Arthur's not crawling down in the well and fixing himself, so I don't know. But if I can be of any help with it, I will be.
Well, you're gonna have to be, because you're gonna have to convince them that at some point it could damage it, because we cannot do anything about this, and we can't even mention this. What we can say is this has been brought to our attention, and we don't believe it's damaging the road yet, but if and when it does, we have put you on notice, and you will be responsible for the cost of the repairs to the town road.
Yeah,
So please and that's the letter I wrote to 56 Ridgeview too, is that I need to emphasize that more, that before you do anything, you need to talk to our road agent and tell him what you're going to do to make sure it will fix the problem, because I don't want people to put good money after bad. Spend some money, fix the problem. You got one.
56 Ridgeview.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so.
So wait, let me wrap one issue up and start the new one.
So are we talking about a strongly worded letter at this point?
Well, I would just say the water's coming from your pumps. Please have a plumber address the water system, or something like that,
Before
right?
the road becomes an issue,
Yeah,
like
so
you're
it's-
saying, but we needs to go a signed letter from us to.
Yeah, but I'll draft something and I'll send it to Curtis first to make sure it's accurate, and then I'll send it to you guys, and then we'll get it signed and send it certified and do what we
Yeah,
gotta
whatever
do.
they want,
Okay.
whatever you guys want. I mean, it's such an easy thing, but I just don't know how to
Yeah.
get the parties to see it yet, so. And originally I didn't really think it was a town thing, but as I'm thinking about it, you know, if that thing runs all winter, it's gonna be a mess.
Well, you don't know when it's gonna be a mess.
Right, yeah, you just don't know, right?
Yeah.
Right, you don't know.
Well,
So,
and it's cheaper
it's an
potentially
easy
to fix it
fix.
in the summer
Yeah.
than it is
Leaks
to
usually
come out and
get-
try to dig up the frozen
We usually
driveways.
get
and-
worse, not better, so
So,
it's gonna start icing the road in the winter time, you don't know.
who knows?
Alright, so you're gonna draft a letter.
Mhm.
Alright,
Yeah.
I got one more, that's it. So this 56 Ridgeview. So I went out there and looked at it, I mean,
So I wrote the letter for your signatures, we sent it. They seemed very responsive. She called me, because they've only had that letter for maybe a week. She called me Monday, I believe, and said that her husband asked her to give us a ring and tell us that it's been taken care of. So I had him, because they didn't contact him, so I wanted to make sure that he knew that they had done what they thought they needed to do, so he went out and looked at it.
yeah, so they really didn't do anything but dump a pile of gravel in the way of it. So they've actually made it worse. So, so what happens is the water comes from on top of the hill. If you this driveway, it's the last driveway on the right on top of Ridgeview Road, right before the cul-de-sac. The water comes. There's I don't know where water comes up there. There's someone up there just pumping water down. It when we get some rain, it runs down their road and goes into the municipal drainage system, right? So. And it's been going on for a while. Obviously, with the rains we've had, it's getting worse and worse and worse. So they basically just dumped a load of gravel to try to block it, but it's not going to block it. It's going to go around it and make it even more of a mess. So I don't know what you want me to do. I mean, you want me to call? Should I just call them and try to? I mean, they live in Nantucket, and
You could call them and say, I went up and inspected, what you had done to fix it, but unfortunately, that's only gonna make it worse.
okay.
I don't even know if they came out and looked at it. He may have just hired,
That's what I'm
yeah,
thinking.
a gravel company to come, because
No.
They need
we
to
made
know.
it sound like it was their driveway.
He-
So he fixed his driveway, he gravelled his driveway, he thinks, but that isn't,
There's no one that
Yeah.
did this that has ever. I mean, this isn't.
I see it.
This isn't a drive. This is a pile. They just dumped a pile and just raked it out by hand. It wasn't like a contractor.
okay.
Like
So it's
someone,
Just like a,
maybe a caretaker just dumped a load of
so it's
gravel.
going through
So-
there, the drainage,
I
it's
think
going right
you-
through the middle.
It goes right down. See, it comes right down the road, and this is,
Oh,
and then it
okay.
goes into here, and then like right here is the
Ah.
drainage. But
It's
what it
going
does is
through
it
the-
washes out.
Yeah,
It washes
So it-
out the road.
yeah.
So this was the one that made me send to the legal inquiry line at NHMA, because I didn't really know what our legal choices were. And what they told me was, so Curtis said it probably already did about $5,000 worth of damage to Ridgeview Road.
Yeah, at least.
So we could right now go after them for that $5,000 worth of damage. That is their responsibility, even if they're not notified of it. But we were trying to be kind, because, that was we were all caught off guard by that rain event, so
Yeah.
why wouldn't a private citizen? And they didn't do anything on purpose, so we thought if we threw ourselves on their mercy and said, hey, look, it's caused about $5,000 worth of damage, we could ask you to pay for that, but we just prefer that you fix
Right.
it so that we don't have this occurrence again. And that they seemed responsive, I just think they didn't know what to do. So it was the wife that called me, and she really was just kind of reading off a script that her husband gave her. So I really think it's important. I only have her cell phone number. I think Curtis needs to hook up with the guy, with the husband, and explain that,
Well, whoever's in charge of the property, which I don't know.
her name was Caitlin Arisman. It's a trust,
Oh,
and the trustees are not the people who call me. So Caitlin Arisman was the one that called me, and her husband was the one that, I don't know if he's one of the trustees. But I sent you her cell phone number and an email. I think you start with her, get the husband's phone number. If you get any pushback at all, then we'll just.
Well,
So
I-
we invoice for the
Well,
repair?
I think we do a dummy invoice, and I think we have the town attorney send it.
Yeah,
And I think we need to give them like 10 days to respond.
Okay.
That's not 10 days to fix it, but
Right.
10 days to tell us.
Confirm.
Same thing with the letters, like,
I just don't think they know how to fix it.
Yeah.
I think that is but that's why I put in the letter color road
Yeah.
agent, because
Yeah.
it's not something I can write in a letter. I don't,
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
not
very
capable
unique
of that.
situation,
Yeah.
so I don't know. It's a lot of water, and if they divert it, it's just gonna affect his lower neighbor. So I don't really know. Like they have to build some culverts. And
They got a ditch down the side and.
yeah, they got an elevation problem. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So like they're gonna have to put some like catch basins in and.
I didn't even
Yeah.
look, did you have any conditions when you gave them a driveway permit? Were they supposed
That's
to
been
place
there.
culverts or?
That was part of a subdivision that was built in the '80s. So
Okay, probably not,
that's pre me.
maybe, before my time, BMT,
Before my time.
before my time.
So, but I'm sure. I mean, Ridgeview was a subdivision. I mean, obviously it's subdivision approval. I'm sure it should have set a plan somewhere, but I can look.
Well, you don't really wanna be telling them how to fix it. You
I don't
just
really wanna
wanna
tell them how to fix
what
it.
you can't be doing.
I get.
I can't do this anymore, I don't care how you.
Yeah,
fix
so
it.
that's kind of why I wanted some guidance, because it's like if I tell them how to fix it and it affects the neighbor
Yeah.
or does something like that, so it's almost like, you know, do we recommend having HEB go there and say this is what you should do or something like that?
I think it's up to them to get a plan.
This driveway was existing,
Yeah.
this is nothing new.
The water, it seems like it's gotten worse. I mean, it's new because they don't have any on that road. They have no drainage on their road. So it's like a road that goes way up on top. I mean, if you
Right.
kind of look at it on
Oh.
Google Earth, so they have no drainage. They have no, it's almost like another road that abuts our road.
I'm wondering if they diverted something up above that
I,
just turned it.
I've never been up there. There's about 20 signs saying not to go on anywhere. So I obviously wouldn't go on their land anyway. So as far as I can see, it's hard to tell. But oh yeah, I mean, it's enough land that they could obviously build something. I'm sure.
It's what, over 50 acres?
I mean, if it was my land and it was doing that to the town, I would have fixed it by now. But you know, if they're not here, so they like,
Right.
you know, so, you know.
I'd hesitate telling them how to do it, I'd just say, this is what it can't do. You can't send water here anymore.
Yeah.
It's up to
And you
you.
can't divert it to your neighbor's property, cause that'll just.
Well, that's on him if he does it, so,
Yeah, I'll just say this is what we have to stop from happening.
yeah, we
And-
can't have this anymore.
You know.
However, there's plenty of people who know how to fix it,
Yeah.
but I don't think you should.
Yeah.
They're gonna be thinking you're looking for a job, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, whatever, but there's a little bit to it, so, cause it is some drainage
Yeah.
structures and all that need to be.
So
I'm
are
gonna
you
call
gonna
Greg,
reach
so
out?
tell him, call
Are you
one of
reaching out,
these
you're reaching out on the first
small
issue?
time
I'm
engineers.
gonna draft a letter for your signatures on the
Okay.
first issue. I'm gonna let him have a preliminary conversation potentially with the husband
Okay.
and see how that goes.
Okay.
And then if we need to, then we'll bump it up to the town attorney
To send an invoice.
to
or
send an invoice
something,
and a
yeah.
letter. I mean, if we have to hire HEB engineering, then we need
It's a
to,
lot.
we're gonna
Yeah.
charge them.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a lot.
Yeah.
we may have to wait for another rain event to damage our road again and then hire HEB and fix it and build and then, but again, that doesn't solve the problem.
No.
We don't need the money as much as we need the problem solved,
Mhm.
so it doesn't happen again.
So many people know how to fix that they can hire somebody, I'm
Yeah.
sure. I get
Well, I would say that they probably could hire HEB and do the work for less than the $5,000 it costs to fix
Oh,
the
right, but it
road
wouldn't
this
even-
time, and however many, cause it's, the water's found its way, and that's the way, now it isn't gonna take 4 inches in an hour of rain. Every potential rainstorm we have is going to send that water down that way. Or worse, if this gravel, if what Curtis says is correct, that
It's
this
gonna make a mess.
potentially makes it worse. Now the gravel will just run down there with the water.
Yeah.
But I think we also probably should encourage them to hire an engineer, because it's not fair to pass it to the next neighbor and the next, who didn't start the problem. Whatever whatever drainage issues they have above that, they should have addressed.
It's their property though. I think we should
Well, just tell them what they can't be
tell them what
doing.
they can't do
And I'll-
and say it might be a good idea to get an engineer, but we can't tell them to get an engineer. Or there's a lot of contractors that would know what to do just by looking at it. Like you and I would look at it and say, well, we'll do this, do
Yeah,
that.
he needs a culvert to catch basin.
Yeah, so
in town.
I don't think they have to lay out the money for an engineer. If they want to, great, but
I wouldn't, I would just
No, I just
talk to
think
a
so.
contractor.
Yeah.
We don't do that stuff, so I mean, that's that, I don't care about that, but, talk to a contractor.
Well, they may not
Yeah.
know. I mean, they live on Nantucket, the houses are this far apart and it's flat.
Oh, no, that'd be awesome.
Thank
big house.
thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Curtis, good to see you.
FEMA, did you
Thank
meet
you.
with Curtis?
What's that?
Did you meet with FEMA?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Any update as to?
So we met with FEMA, we had a nice walk, spent some quality time with them, it was fun. There was a lot of them, so, we looked at a bunch of work we did, did a bunch of culvert sizing and drove to a bunch of different projects that we did, and it went pretty well, I think
Did
there
you
was,
submit receipts and all?
so we got all the I got some paperwork,
We'd already done that.
we'd already done a lot of that
They had
kinda.
asked for some more follow-up information, which he just provided me.
Oh, okay.
So I will be,
They'll keep asking for a while.
So we went through this in like the early 2000s, so I had the paperwork done up kind of the way we did this the last time. So hopefully it doesn't make Kelly's life awful. And that we did kind of explain it the way that we think that they want to know. So they asked some follow-up. So I think we're good. I mean, they just gotta declare it,
Yes.
right? And,
and they said that could take 3 or 4 months.
seems like it's gonna, because there's a bunch of stuff, by talking to them, there's a bunch of stuff, in Ossipee and,
Wakefield,
that
Alton,
was a lot of
Taylor.
money, so, like millions, so,
Oh,
I think we're good, but, hopefully we can get that, and
yeah.
until then, I mean, so, that's a good point, so, we spent a lot of money in a short amount of time, so until then, what is our plan to do that? Are we gonna have a special budget hearing and
I would say let's get to the bottom of the budget first, and then we can ask permission from the DRA to overspend the bottom line, show we have it in the unreserved fund balance, see what
Yeah.
happens.
I think the better thing to do, because I think what's gonna happen is if you wait till the end of the year when you overspend or in danger of overspending your bottom line, it kind of puts you into jeopardy with a bunch of other budget things too. But you also run up against to have a special town meeting, you can't have one within 120 days. So I think we're gonna wind up in a time constraint, which is why I think what I suggested the last meeting is probably, we can, because you're the agents to expend the Highway Capital Reserve Fund, and even after the warrant article for him to do this year's paving, there'll still be about $100,000 left, and we've spent about 71,000. I think you have a public hearing, you tell people that you need to expend $71,000 additional out of the Highway Expendable Trust to make him whole for the storm, and then if we get 75% of that back, if it gets declared, then we just hold a public hearing under 3195 to take unanticipated money and place it in the Highway Expendable Trust at the end on a warrant article for next year to make that whole. So we kind of just, basically we were borrowing money from ourselves to fund our highway budget, because you're the agents to expend. All you gotta do to do that is have a public hearing and explain why. And it's very, I mean, we're up to 66,000 plus, what was this, 82? So we're at 74,000. And if there's a little rental, we're gonna be at 78,000. So, and there'll be 100 in the expendable trust. So I think that's totally doable. And then if I don't think we'll get 75% of everything, because they're always gonna say something didn't meet the qualifications. But let's say we get 45 or 50,000 back, then we just put that back in And then you don't wait and you don't run afoul, like you don't get so close that you can't have a special time meeting, you're not in danger of actually overexpending your bottom line.
True or not, I heard something about October.
I think
That leaves us time if you get in
No,
jeopardy.
didn't they say August? They thought it'd get declared in August and then
Get
start
declared,
paying
but
out
start
in
paying out in
October.
October.
In
Yeah.
October.
special meeting in October.
So,
So-
so theoretically, we could have a special meeting. I mean, you wouldn't wanna be any later than that.
No, but
Because I mean,
we're
start
gonna
snowing.
cut the snow off, right?
Because I kind of need to know. The problem with it is I need to know because I need to know how we're gonna do it because there's some things that I have to do if we're gonna have less resources, or some things that I need to stop doing.
I think you can be pretty confident and we should just put this expenditure aside.
Okay.
And you go about your business.
And
And-
definitely for the time being.
We can.
We don't want you not to do the maintenance or whatever your plan was because,
No,
oh,
we don't,
speaking of that,
and we
I
don't want you
change subject,
paving, we don't want you paving when it's 40 degrees out either, cause
No.
So I think what we
We'll
do
let
is,
Tom
let's
do
have,
that.
let's have a public hearing and get people's, we don't have to take it out until he needs it. But you'll get their permission to expend it. And we'll take
Then we know we gotta.
everything we've got invoiced, assuming that we would've gotten that. And then whatever we get back, we'll put back in.
So plan for October still for a public.
No, I would
Yeah, before
have a public hearing in July or August.
Yeah.
to get people's permission, and you don't really need their permission, you just have to notify them
Yeah.
and why, and you've got all the invoicing for it, so there's no questions that we've spent this money that was totally unforeseen.
Yeah,
And
it's a good idea.
then you only have to spend it if you have to spend it.
I would say wait till September though.
Okay.
Why?
Cause if they declare, we're all set.
Yeah, but when are they gonna give us
we
the
aren't.
money?
They
though?
declare doesn't mean they get
No,
something
we
checks
aren't.
out, that's the problem.
We still aren't gonna have it in time, potentially,
To do summer work, it's gonna be too late.
right. And we might be backing up into plowing season,
Yeah.
which we really don't wanna be short.
So should we just say August
It's awful to think about.
I mean,
would
it's,
be a
Split the difference.
compromise? What do you think? August a compromise?
like I said, you can have the public hearing and disclose it, and it's just still not,
It's things that people don't understand. So we understand it just fine. People don't understand that, okay, we're gonna have a public hearing so we can have permission to spend this money, but we might not spend it.
we've already spent it.
That's on the federal government.
But you know what I mean? It's like, we might get the money back, so we might not spend it.
No, we've already spent it. I think what the explanation is here are the invoices of what we've spent. This is above and beyond anything we foresaw or had budgeted for. And in order to do the paving and the plowing we're going to have to do in November and December potentially, we need to recoup this
If we're
70.
going to do that, I think it's very important to make it very clear that we're having the public hearing to spend this amount of money, here's the invoices to go with it. Out of the capital reserve,
Expendable trust fund, yeah.
there's a possibility we may be reimbursed 75% from
75%
FEMA at that time. The money will, just to make it very clear and very transparent to people that we're not just going and spending $75,000 just so Curtis can pave a road.
Well, and then you can explain to people that if and when we do get any reimbursement, we have to have another public hearing under 3195B to accept that, and we will disclose at that time what our intention is to refund the expendable trust fund, whatever part of that.
I just think it needs to be very, very crystal clear so people understand.
No matter what, if we don't get the full amount, we're gonna be looking for money.
Well, we're not gonna get the full amount.
Not the
They-
full,
they- they
right,
give us
so we're gonna be
75%.
having a meeting anyway. We're
We
gonna have to
only
have a public
qualify
hearing
for
to even take a little bit.
75%, and I don't, it's been my experience in all the ones I've done that they aren't going to qualify every expense. So out of the 75,000, maybe
Probably gonna get
65,000 will be
58.
qualified, and we'll get 75% of that, which is still
That's good.
a
It's a lot.
a ton more than what we,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that won't. $20,000 is that's not a budget.
Well, yeah, because
Workable.
you,
78,000 is 1/3 of the budget.
because
so-
you do damage control anyway.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
just
yeah.
that this was
Well,
above
affected
and
everything.
beyond
It
anything
affected
that
everything.
we've had to do in one event.
Yeah, and it was like a public safety problem, right? So like we
Mm-hmm,
had, it's not like we could just chip away at it with a guy or two.
No, and you can't leave cones up on all your
Right,
roads for the
and
rest
there was road failures and there was all kinds of craziness everywhere, so.
Well, thanks for checking in on that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, for what we put in for, they took all our numbers and punched everything in, and they're almost doubling what I was asking for. So their numbers sometimes are better than our numbers. So I know Curtis does a better job at numbers than I do, but I had everything, but when they started adding up labor and machinery used and all of that, it came out much higher than what I
Oh, see,
anticipated.
so he already had that
Yeah, he's got the,
broken down from the way they've done it before, and I got the new equipment list, which
Yeah.
is even more money than,
so we're not gonna know until we know, really. So we do, but we do have to ask for something, so we might as well
So we should plan
start. with
August to,
yeah, I mean,
Look,
we'll
Karen.
talk it, I'll put it on the agenda, we'll talk about it again. I'll
Okay.
try to put, for the next meeting, I'll try to put everything together in a spreadsheet so you can look at, because I think if Kathy sees it, if you see it in a spreadsheet so people can you can understand it, and then that'll make it easier for you to explain it to people. But I think you can't, we're not looking for money, we're not looking for additional money, we're looking for money this is money we've already spent, it's hard money.
Yeah.
It's not us looking for more money to do more projects, it's us making the highway budget whole so that he can do what he was originally going to do.
But didn't you say we can do it anyway? This is just information. The public hearing,
Yeah.
they're not voting to tell us.
You're
we
the
can't
agents
do
to
it.
expend.
We're just giving them the
You're
information.
the agents to expend, but you didn't do a warrant article to expend it, so you still have to disclose what you're doing.
Disclose it, but we're not, if people,
No, they
we get the
can't.
wrong people in the room that,
No, they can't stop it.
okay.
I think people are gonna understand.
And they
Right.
can't stop what you do with
And it's still fresh in their mind too, so maybe it's a good idea to get
Yeah.
it done sooner than later.
I think people are gonna be surprised at how much, I mean, they know how much damage there was, but I think they're gonna be surprised how much
because-
money it cost in such a short amount of
No,
time.
because Curtis got it done so quick that people really weren't affected.
Well,
That was the best.
the one
part.
thing that like with this type of impact, like most people in the town saw damage.
Yeah.
There was only a few roads that weren't damaged.
And they,
so.
but they could get where they were going. If a road was closed, washed out, where you had it.
But that's where
Then you-
having Curtis,
Yeah, we
a
got-
town
we
with
got-
739 people, if you had one guy in one truck,
Mm-hmm.
your roads would have been damaged until the snow
We
flies
had a lot of
and
cones out.
you would have never gotten it done.
Right.
He put 4 crews together, 5 crews together, they got it done in 4 or 5 days. Like, most towns our size wouldn't be capable of doing that. So,
A lot of towns are still fixing.
yeah.
and will be.
All right.
All right.
You're awesome.
Thank you again.
Thanks again.
Sorry about throwing you under the
Oh,
bus.
no, that was great. That was very helpful. Thanks for asking that, Kathy. Definitely good to keep that fresh.
Yeah, definitely.
Alright, so old business, anything? Capital, marbles.
He's on
Chapel
He's on
Historical
vacation.
Society.
Our town
Okay.
attorney's on vacation this week, but he is still on this.
Okay. Alright, we already talked about the flap grant. Other business, anything
The planning board meeting
Planning
got
board
canceled.
canceled, so
canceled?
nothing going on.
Nothing. Correspondence, review and discuss notice from Town of Conway on potential regional impact of 228 residential dwellings units, 15 townhouses, 5,675 square foot clubhouse at 1552 White Mountain Highway.
Where is that? Anybody know?
I don't, is it kind of towards the, no, it would be closer,
15, it must be mid,
like mid North
yeah,
Conway.
I can't picture where they have room to wedge something else in this big.
Yeah, I know, right? Jeez.
The residents at Saco River LLC, does that help you?
No, I know this, no. It's alright, don't matter. I'm just being nosy.
Review and discuss notice from NH Department of Environmental Services, land resource management file for 53 Bridge Street.
So this is in that Cranmore Shores.
Yeah.
Apparently she put something in the wall, I don't know if it's a mooring or something.
From reading it, it looked like a concrete wall without getting a permit. In
Detention wall.
2020.
Yeah.
But now there's a neighborhood dispute down there, so she has to get written permission from the neighbor to go in there to take it out. And DES is requiring her to take it, so another one
Oh.
not getting involved.
Let 'em know.
Hello. Review and discuss notice for the USDA White Mountain National Forest regarding Hales location and prescribed fire projects. Anything?
Yeah, coming in smoking.
Yeah, that's,
More smoke.
yeah. Review and discuss 2 notices from Charter Communications, one regarding programming and the other regarding franchise fees.
We did get a check from him.
Oh, blah, blah, blah. Alright, public comment, no public, so, are we going into?
I just have a couple things. really
Sure, sorry.
quick. Do we know anything about the fire in Brookwood? Is that in Albany? It's Brookwood, right, Kathy? Is it
It's
called Brookwood?
Madison.
Is it Madison, that,
It's
that
Madison.
part of it? Okay. I see we had another accident, motorcycle down by my house, and that leads me into the last thing, we have a meeting, right?
Yes, on the 20th,
The 20th with the highway people,
3 o'clock here.
3 o'clock here. So, if anyone wants to come in.
They can,
Oh,
or
they
then it's a
can't.
selectmen's meeting,
No,
and I have to
we're
let the
not- no, we're
public
not
in,
invited.
that's why you and I are doing it.
You're not invited, sorry about that. So that's what's going on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so I would like to make a motion to go into non-public session under RSA 9, 1-A3, 2, as necessary, a non-public session under RSA 91-A3, 2C, matters which, if discussed in public, would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the public body itself, unless such person requests an open meeting. This exemption shall extend to any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of a fee, fine, or other levy, if based in ability to pay or poverty of the applicant. I make a motion.
I will second that.
All those in favor? Aye.
Roll call aye.
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 And then I would just, before we shut down, I just would like to say we're going to review and discuss our next meeting, so that will be,
Do we wanna do that before we go into non-public and then?
yeah, let's quickly do that.
So we gotta come on in non-public?
Sorry. Oh my
I'll make,
gosh.
you
I
make a
make a
motion
motion.
to rescind your
I
motion.
wanna make a motion to rescind my
I'll make
non-public.
a second to rescind your motion.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
So I would like to either hold the 28th meeting at 5 PM and hopefully make it very quick because I have an event to go to in Portland. And I think it was suggested that we just cancel the meeting. I'm okay with rescheduling it too. I don't care, but I'm just hoping we can make something work.
I say if there's nothing emergent on the agenda, that we just cancel. It's been pretty quiet.
Okay.
I think
Anything?
we can cancel as long as you're open to having a meeting on July 5th if you have to, because that's a month. You'll go a month without a meeting. That's a long time. I don't think we've ever made it a month. Because that means your next meeting isn't until, so
What do you
we're on the
think?
14th, our next meeting is July 12th. That's a month. And sign permits and some other things are 14 days, so.
So my suggestion there is, Jen, is that we just hold the meeting without you, have the co-chair run it. If it's just building permit, sign permit, anything emergent like that, that has that, or pistol permit, we're not
Yeah,
gonna
and-
discuss business.
No, and
Okay.
we can decide, really, we can decide next week whether you think you need to have, like,
Okay.
I think it is
Take the day
slow.
off, Jen.
Well, I
Take the
mean,
day off.
like I said, if it's short, I can be here.
Right,
But it has to be like a
Right.
30-minute meeting.
right.
I don't wanna
promise-
be pushing it if there is something that needs to be discussed. So, I mean, I guess we'll
So
We
just,
could meet and then she could leave.
yeah, alright. Was that,
Whatever you guys
Yeah.
wanna do.
okay.
I mean, we can.
So you
We'll
wanna
just-
do 5 o'clock, you leave at 5:30, or we can meet without
No,
you?
5:30 if I can leave by 6. Is that fine?
Or we can decide next week whether we have to have one.
Okay.
And I could, what I could do, if it is just building permits and sign permits and very straightforward stuff that I don't need you to
Then-
deny and write letters about, then I can put it in the consent file and you could just swing by and
swing by and
sign,
sign it, okay.
and we'll make
So
it.
we'll just say tentatively meeting June 28th at 5:30.
Yep.
Okay, so,
Yeah, if you gotta run, you gotta run.
yeah, so I would like to adjourn and go into non-public.
You're not adjourned, you're just going.
Say,
All right.
say that whole thing
Yeah,
all over
okay.
again.
Okay, non-public session under RSA 91-A32 as necessary. Do you want me to really read the whole
I'll
thing?
make a motion to go into non-public session under RSA 91A32C. Matters if which discussed in public will likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the public body itself, unless such person requests an open meeting. This exception shall extend to any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of fee, fine, or other levy if based upon inability to pay or poverty of the applicant.
Sounds
The
like-
applicant.
Sounds like- Sounds
You don't
like
even
she's
need to
look-
read it. You know that by heart.
She wants her job back.
Okay, I think so. Yeah, look at that. Second.
Roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I have to type the whole thing twice.
You can copy and paste.
We're
Oopsie.
done.
Copy and paste,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Thank you. That was a little rough ending, sorry about that.